Okay, so we're getting towards the end now. And if you haven't read chapter 37 yet, that's part of the guided reading session for today. So if you haven't read 37, make sure you go onto the guided reading video this morning. The text is there for you to read. It's really important to read that before you carry on. Lots is revealed within that chapter. Okay, so chapter 38, retracing the steps. When Detective Inspector Pierce finished reading out Marcus's statement, it was 10:03 p.m. Aunt Gloria looked at Marcus with an expression that was off the Richter scale. Her bottom lip hung down, tears fell down that she didn't bother to wipe away. Rashid sat on the dining chair completely motionless, his head between his hands. Detective Inspector Pierce leaned forward, her knuckles tight. "Marcus," she said, "I want you to think. Take your time. Was there anything Salim said, anything that might give us a clue to where he went next?" Marcus's hood shook. "No, that's it. I've told you everything. I remember. He said he was coming straight back here. Honest to God." "Did he say how?" "No. He had a travel card. He'd shown me it earlier." He pulled the hood down more over his face. The policewoman who was looking after him put an arm round him. "I want to go home now," came his voice, muffled. Detective Inspector Pierce nodded. "Take him home," she said. "If he remembers anything else, call me right away." Marcus was led to the door, but just as he was about to go, Aunt Gloria stood up. "Marcus," she said. The room went quiet. Marcus paused but didn't turn around. "I want you to know, Marcus, to know it from me, Salim's mother, this was none of your fault." She sat down and groaned. Marcus shuffled over to her. "I forgot," he said, "to give you this." He held out his hand. In it was Salim's mobile. Aunt Gloria took it to him with fingers shaking. She'd held it up to her cheek. "Oh, Salim," she whispered. "Where are you?" Marcus and his police escort left. Detective Inspector Pierce touched Aunt Gloria on the shoulder and said how she was going back to headquarters to mount a London-wide search. The workers in the underground, the bus drivers who went through Euston would be questioned. She said she'd leave no stone unturned. Then she left too, and Aunt Gloria started to cry again. Then Mum sent Cat and me up to bed. We didn't even try to go to sleep. Cat sat up on the lilo. I sat up in my bed. I had the bedside light on. My head thumped. "Ted," Cat said. "What?" "You thought you'd found him. And you hadn't. He's gone again." "Yes, Cat. Gone." "I don't like it, Ted," she shivered. "Inspector Pierce doesn't like it either." "No." All along she thought Salim had run away. Now she doesn't think so anymore. "No. There are only two possibilities, Ted." "What?" "Either he ran away, or he was kidnapped." "Kidnapped?" "Yes." "Why? Aunt Gloria isn't a millionaire, is she?" "Oh, Ted, you're so young. Kids get kidnapped for other reasons." "What other reasons? Stop looking at me like a duck that's forgotten how to quack." I stopped tilting my head and blinked. "What other reasons, Cat?" "Sex stuff." My hand shook itself out. Cat lay down, curling up. She didn't go to sleep. I heard no lapping like a dog drinking. After a long while, I turned the radio on low. It was the shipping forecast at midnight. The general synopsis at 0000 hours, issued by the Met Office. Fitzroy, mainly northerly, 5 or 6, becoming variable. Thundery. Fourth Tyne, Dogger 6 or 7. Down south, the rain came in. The winds rose. I heard the tree branches tapping the roof of our garden shed. I thought of the washing line, soaked again. Squalls of hard raindrops drummed against the window. I got my weather book and looked up the section on the Coriolis effect. I heard Salim's voice, at Euston Station, talking to Marcus. "They're great, Cat and Ted." I thought of the boy on the slab. I thought of Salim, somewhere in the great silent void, or lying somewhere out there in the growing storm. Two possibilities, hiding or kidnapped. "Switch it off, Ted, the radio is driving me nuts." It was Cat. I switched it off. "I can't sleep," she moaned. "Cat, you know the theories? The 9 theories." "Not them again, please." "One of them was right, wasn't it?" "Yeah, number 6, clever clogs. But you remember how I first thought of 8? And then later I thought of a 9th. So, maybe what you said earlier isn't true." "What do you mean?" "You said there are only 2 theories. Either he's hiding or he's being kidnapped. But maybe there's a third theory, like the 9th one before, one that we haven't thought of yet." Cat was listening now. She got up and switched on the main light. "Now you're talking," she said. "A third theory. There must be one." She walked up and down beside the Lilo, thumping a fist into her palm, like a stone hitting paper in the stone scissor paper game you play when you were small. It was the one game I knew how to play, and it was my favourite. I made a scissors out of my hand. It was like the third theory we were trying to find. I thought out loud. Maybe Salim went missing again deliberately, willingly. Maybe Marcus is lying. Kat stopped pacing. She looked at me. Marcus was telling the truth. How do you know? I just know. It's body language thing, Ted. Like how I knew that the night theory was wrong. It's the same now. I just know it was the way Marcus said. Salim didn't mean to vanish. He'd meant to come back here. He'd changed his mind about running away. So that means he vanished unwillingly. Yeah. She sat down on the bed. There are only two possibilities. Ted, there are only two theories. He either vanished of his own accord or of somebody else's. Somebody else's, I repeated. Which means that somebody out there is holding him. Holding him? I got out of bed and opened the window. Somebody out there, I repeated. The northeasterly wind blew in. The papers on my desk flew across the room. A leaf came in. I thought about the Coriolis effect. I could smell the outside. I could smell London. Somebody out there, Kat whispered, joining me at the window. She put her arm around my shoulder. Or something, I said. The gale came into the room for a few seconds more, then Kat shut the window again. What do you mean? Something. I don't know, I said. Maybe something got in Salim's way and deflected him off course, like the Coriolis effect. That puts the wind off course all the time, and it's not a person, it's a thing. It's a thing you can't even see. Do you mean he met with an accident? I don't know, maybe. Okay. He met with an accident of some kind and couldn't get home. But he'd have shown up, his body would have been found, or he'd be in a hospital somewhere. The police would have found him. Unless... Kat's hand went up to her neck. Her eyes went large and round. Unless what? I said. Unless he fell in the river. Unless he drowned. I thought of the cormorants ducking and diving. My hand flapped. You don't just fall in the river, Kat. There are walls all around it. You'd have to throw yourself in deliberately. Kat gasped. Her eyes got even bigger. Maybe Salim did throw himself in. No, I said. Kat stared. I put my flapping hand on her soft bony shoulder. No, I said. She breathed out. No, you're right. Salim wouldn't do that. He wouldn't. She shook her head. Okay, so this Coriolis thingy. What was it? I don't know, I said. I put my hands up to my head and shook it. I'm trying to think, but my brain's tired. Let's be Salim, Ted. Let's both imagine we're on Euston Station. Let's retrace his steps in our head, remember? He doesn't know London well. He has a travel card, right? Right, Kat. He's waving Marcus goodbye. Got that? Yes. Then what? Looks at his watch. 4 o'clock, I said. And he knows Aunt Gloria will be frantic, so he goes to get out his phone. He realises he doesn't have it. He left it in the pink fluffy jacket, so he goes to a public phone, right? Kat frowned. Wrong. He didn't have the money, Kat. He'd spent it all. The disposable camera, the Mars bars, the coke, the busker. Yeah, of course. All he's got is a travel card. So he decides to just get home. He goes down the underground. How do you know, Ted? It's the fastest, and it's the easiest if you don't know London. Okay. Looks at the underground map. He's already been on the Northern Line in the morning. He's not stupid, and it's simple. From Euston to our stop, it's direct, no changing, easy. He goes to the platform, he gets on. Euston, Tottenham Court Road, Leicester Square, Embankment, Waterloo, I said. Then on to our stop, Ted. He gets out, gets the lift, he's back to the ground level, Kat. He shows his travel card, or puts it through the barrier, and then he's back here. We're just round the corner from the tube. Kat blew out a hot, angry breath. It's useless, Ted. He might have got confused about which direction to take when he got out of the main road. I do. Kat stared at me. I don't think so. Not Salim. He'd walked that way with us just that morning. It's dead easy. Just 200 metres down the road, past the barracks, then left onto Rivington Street and our house halfway down. I nodded. Our house halfway down. Kat slumped back down on her Lilo. It's useless, Ted. Useless, I said. My hand started shaking itself out. My head went off to the side. What did you say, Kat? I said. Say it again. Useless. Not that. What you said before, from the bit about the main road. 200 metres down the road, past the barracks, and then she stopped. She stared. In the pod, Kat, at the top. Marcus said he was staring straight at the sun. He was looking south. He said he was looking at Manhattan, Kate murmured. He wasn't looking at Manhattan, Kat, or the sun. He was looking at something that reminded him of Manhattan, a big tower block. He was looking at the barracks. That's the some things, Kat said. That's it. That's the Coriolis thingy, the thing that made him go off course. Then she shook her head. But Ted, he was anxious to get home. Surely he wouldn't have stopped and gone wandering off into the barracks. He likes tall buildings, Kat, I said. Kat nodded. He had his disposable camera. He might have wanted to take some pictures. I nodded. It was a fine day. Kat, good views. Views which he knew soon wouldn't exist anymore. Besides, Ted, he may have dreaded Aunt Glo going ballistic when he showed up. A little delay might have been appealing. He goes into the barracks just for a quick look. Then what? Dad came home that evening, I squeaked. He said he'd made it secure. He'd locked it up. He hasn't been back since. He said he'd been down to Peckham today on the other site. He locked it up, Kat, with Salim inside. And nobody's been there since. Salim's in there, Kat, trapped, and the concrete crushers are going in tomorrow. Chapter 39. This is a short one, so we'll read it. Is Ted right? Have they finally cracked? Night rain. Mother of God! Kat shrieked. She ran out of the room. Dad! Mum! Come quickly! When I talk to people about something I've found out, they don't listen. When Kat does, everyone listens. Within 5 minutes, everyone was half dressed and out the door into the driving rain. Dad brought 2 torches and a massive bunch of work keys. We ran down the road. Rashid, Aunt Gloria, Mum, Dad, Kat and I, with coats flapping, umbrellas blowing inside out, hearts pounding, hopes rising, my hand shaking itself out. Dad's hand trembled as he undid the padlock. A great howl of wind moaned its way through the big dark tower above us. Mum held out a torch. We crossed a muddy strip of glass and peered around the back of the building to the entrance. Another key, another shaking hand. Hurry, hurry, screamed Aunt Gloria, almost grabbing the keys off Dad. We were in. The doors closed behind us. Dad played the torch around the lobby. It stank like bad toilets and dead animals. Another key to a room, set back in the darkness. It was like an engine room. Pipes, boilers, cables, fuse boxes. It was silent like a morgue. The torch picked out what Dad was looking for, a cupboard. He unlocked that with a 4th key. There was a switch. He turned it on. Then he turned on a row of switches by the door. Light. The tower block lobby came alive. Yet another door to the stairwell. Another key, more lights. Salim! Salim! We shouted. Up and up. Floor after floor. Kat and I were the fastest. I knew where Salim would be. He'd be right at the top, on the 24th story. By floor 15 I was rasping. Kat was half a flight ahead. I heard her moaning and whimpering. Salim! Oh, Salim! Our lungs had given out by the time we got to the top. Kat had a stitch. Salim, she said. It was little more than a whisper. There were 4 doors on each floor. The first 3 we tried were locked. The 4th was ajar. I felt something scuttle past my foot into the darkness. Salim, Kat faltered. She grabbed my hand. It was clammy and cold, but it kept mine from shaking itself out. Don't go in there, Ted. I don't like it. I don't like the way it smells. Let's wait for Dad. We waited hand in hand on the 24th story, by the open door, the door that led into darkness. It was the longest wait of my life. The theories, all of them, the photos, the words on the t-shirt, the pods on the wheel were like floating strands in my brain. There were no more theories. This was the last one, the only hope. The heart thumped, my eardrums pounded. It was the sound of time. Dad came, panting. He had the torch. He staggered into the dark doorway. Kat and I crept after him. Salim, he said. He pushed through another door. The torch beam quivered across some grimy walls. Salim. That's where we found him. He was shaking all over, just waking from sleep. He was curled up like a fetus in an empty room on an old mattress that the last people to leave the barracks had left behind in the flat. He was alive. Aunt Gloria rushed in and hurled herself down on him. Salim, she sobbed. Oh, Salim, my love, my love. Okay, so, mystery cracked. We have found Salim. So, tomorrow, under tomorrow's session, tomorrow's the bank holiday, so there's no work for tomorrow. However, there is the final 2 chapters. They're only short of the book. So if you want to watch those today, or if you want to watch them at some point over the weekend, that would be great. And yeah, we have cracked the mystery. Did any of you get it right with your predictions?